Snack has played a huge part in my training camp. The protein, the ZMA, everything, the pre-workout, it's played such a major part in my training camp, keeping me healthy, keeping me recovered, keeping me feeling good, strong, and ready for my next workout.
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Villegas, and right now I'm welcoming in the one and only Keith, one-time Thurman. Keith, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a while since I've heard from you, man. Congratulations on the birth of your first baby. How is life, my man, and how have you been these last few months?
Different, man. Baby girl's 5 months now. She's getting more animated, stronger by the day. It's different. It's a whole new chapter, man. Fatherhood. It's not, we're not in our 20s no more. We're in our 30s. We've reached fatherhood now, and we're just at the beginning stages, man. But it's I can see this chapter lasting for a while, man, and it's going to have a lot of blessings to come with it. Just family, man. COVID, everything is changing how a lot of people really look at things, but a lot of people are staying close to those that they're close with. You're already bonded, and you don't want to let certain things go. And then other people that are at the distance, it's like love you, but distance, and the lack of travel. I was able to get out and work the gig for the Pacquiao fight, but I still haven't traveled since. Just really homebound, getting back in the gym, ready for some action, whatever comes my way, some opportunities here, and that's it, man. Gotta just keep grinding, man. But just a little bit, some new things coming forward with family and stuff. Besides that, everything is what it is.
Being a dad now, how is that dynamic for you as a professional athlete?
It's just a different dynamic, like in general, especially at the age, I always wanted to wait till my 30s. This happened in my 30s. So I feel like, there's no manual. I'm not saying I'm going to do everything right, but I just think I'll make less bad decisions than I would have if I was younger, So I'm happy with that. And besides that, just take it day by day. But now, there's a little bit more to fight for. We're always fighting for something. We're fighters. Everybody goes out there and grinds and hustles, and that's their fight. But we go imano, and it's a real fight. There's just more to fight for. There's more family that's going to be cheering me on and watching. So at the end of the day, just love it, man. Just love it. Just can't wait to get back and showcase my skills again, because it's I just can't wait for those 8-ounce gloves, man. It's gonna be great. I always live for the performance, and I believe I'm one of the best performers in the welterweight division. I think I make some of the most exciting fights there is at 147, and I just look forward to keep doing that and keep bringing the real action.
Yeah, the last time fans got to see you was actually the Pacquiao fight, and a lot has happened since then. And I'll touch on Manny Pacquiao retiring, but what is the plan, Keith? When can fans expect for you to come back? Because it has been some time.
If I get what I want, we'll be dancing right before the jingle bells. If not, I'll be right back in action in January. There's 2 dates that I heard about. Nothing's been solidified. I haven't heard about any opponents. I'm just focusing on time wise, and I'm ready to go. I'm good with a December date, but if I have to wait till January, so be it. But I'm just going to be out here getting ready, keeping my body in tune.
What type of opponent, if you had a first pickings, would you select? Do you want something like a tune-up because it's been such a long time, or do you want to get right into the mix with somebody who's in the top 5?
It'd probably be outside of top 5. A lot of good fights are not able to happen right away. But I always love a great fight. I can't say no to a great fight, but I just need to fight back, whatever is knocking on the door, whatever opportunities are actually eligible out there, then so be it. Because next year it's about really being back on the scene and staying in action, rolling two more over, which is another reason why I want to get the mix in December, roll 2 over next year. And then from December to December, it would actually be, 3 fights within 12 months. That's the kind of work rate that I want to do to play catch up with this COVID and everything that's happened. I didn't need this much time off. This just happened to play out the way that it did. So I'm either willing to go hard next year and still try to do 3 fights in 12 months, or like I said, get the fight over in December and then just be willing to negotiate for whatever comes our way in 2022.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now that you say it, yeah, you haven't had a fight since all this COVID stuff happened. Has all this time off, I know you're getting to enjoy your newborn. Has it been, in your opinion, like a blessing in disguise? Have you used this time to recoup from injuries and work on things in the gym?
It's just, time was one thing. Now it's like overtime. So
there's your baby girl.
she's waking up, she's waking up. It's just been what it is. I've been through this my whole life. I dedicated my whole life to boxing. So to me, even in the inactivity, my mind's still on the next one, until a fighter announces their retirement, I'm technically thinking of a fight. It's like, I'll be backstage, and then they're just going to say, it's time to walk out again. Even this time, it all feels like it's leading up to that moment where I'm going to be backstage again, getting ready to walk into the ring. So, yeah, it's just felt like overtime, man. I've helped other fighters. I've trained people in the gym. I worked on other people's technique, things of that nature. Trying to figure out, trying to get a good cameraman out here to maybe put together a YouTube page so we can go over technique, and just anybody who's a casual boxing fan, amateur, or just doesn't want to look like an amateur when they're in a real boxing gym or at LA Fitness, they want to impress some girls and just throw some real, or you really need to throw some real hands, we're just going to have some fight technique, man. I think I'm going to put something together. So the time's given me a lot of time to think about other things and other opportunities and the way that I can share this gift to others. And I got another project that I can't talk about, but it's really big. And I really hope that it all pans out the way that I see it, but it's about giving back in another way to the community where I grew up. So we'll see what happens.
Speaking of time, Manny Pacquiao's time in the sport is now up. You were one of the last people to fight him. He fought Ugas and he lost, and he announced his retirement, I want to say last week. Overall, what's your reaction to Manny Pacquiao announcing his retirement, Keith? Because you had a tremendous fight with him when you guys fought.
Yeah, man. I mean, everybody has their time. Right before he fought me, he was a very active fighter. Despite his age, he was active and he was mobile. He was moving around. The 2-year layoff, definitely couldn't help somebody who competed at the age of 40 against me and then is now trying to compete again at 42. Hence, he was also supposed to go against an undefeated welterweight, the top of his game, Errol Spence, leading up into the fight. Yeah, so I did Shawn Porter and then Danny Garcia. That's I have to admit, doing Keith Thurman and then Errol Spence is a step above that, as far as overall back-to-back punchers. So it would have been a big risk. I know Errol can't feel good sitting back on a missed opportunity. But at the end of the day, we saw what Pacquiao had. The fans were still out there. The fans were still supporting him, and Styles makes fights. We know in boxing what Cuban boxers mean to the whole world of boxing. Let alone so it could have really, to me, Ugas is not a no-name Cuban, but it could have been a no-name Cuban and you still might have got the same performance. Let's say Andeslar, is it Andeslar Laura? Is that who I'm thinking of? Mm-hmm. Right? Let's say when he was 147, let's say Pacquiao had to fight him. Could Pacquiao really beat that kind of fighter? Styles makes fights in general, especially for a fighter like Pacquiao. He's shown it multiple times throughout his career. But he's done so much in the sport. I mean, he could have left, whenever he wanted to, and it would have been good. On the telecast, we were talking about how in the lightweight division, he was already a Hall of Famer. It's like he's made the Hall of Fame more than once, the way that his career ended up. You can split his career and give it to two different guys and you end up with two Hall of Famers. So, I mean, Manny Pacquiao is just a legend. He's brought a whole brand new country to the sport of boxing. I have Filipino fans because of Manny Pacquiao, because they love the way that I fought my fight, even though they always respect Manny and Manny brought them all into the sport. They still, they love skills and talent. They know I'm young. They know I still got more fights, so they can keep cheering for me and look forward to watching my future in the sport till the day that I'm done. But yeah, man, if he's really gone, salute you, salute. Everything was done right. He put his real heart into it, and you just got to respect it.
In terms of the fight that he had with Ugas, and I might be incorrect, I saw someone tweet at me saying that you felt the fight was a draw. Me scoring at ringside, I thought the fight was a draw also, but I was a little further back. How did you see the Ugas fight with Manny?
I had the fight to a draw in a certain round. Mm-hmm. When I was commenting, I was making comments live at a certain portion of the fight. So the fight wasn't over. And then I said, I thought it was a draw. Mm-hmm. So whoever tweeted that didn't like that at that point, I still had it at a draw, and it wasn't even a real draw because I had a swing bout in there anyways. I had a swing bout. And by the time I got to, towards the end, no matter how you want to score it, Ugas won by 2 points, by 2 rounds, so I just didn't see Pacquiao able to do enough in the later rounds. I was able to take over for the majority of the later rounds. I really showed up in the later rounds on Pacquiao. I just don't think the 2-year layoff really helped him. His legs didn't seem as jumpy. He said he was having some leg issues or whatever. But it matters. Ugas is one of the biggest welterweights in the welterweight division outside of Errol Spence. They both have long jabs, and Ugas was able to utilize that long jab in the match, work on fundamentals. I tell people all the time, especially when you're in sparring, but when you're in a real boxing match, if a certain punch is landing, you might as well keep throwing that punch, until for whatever reason it's not landing no more. It's not your fault he doesn't know how to block a straight right hand or a long jab or a body shot. Whatever they're giving to you, and they just have a bad habit of keep giving you that, you got to take advantage, and I just think Ugas was very fundamental and stayed solid, and that's why the judges weren't able to give Pacquiao that much, and he wasn't able to jump in and do the flurries that could even give him credit for offense. He wasn't doing that. He wasn't able to do that. As Ugas, we can say Ugas shut that down. We can say he just didn't have his legs. But at the end of the day, it was his last performance. We see him try. I think he pushed the action more than Ugas pushed the action. I think Ugas was just being fundamental and really making his reach and his abilities apparent. I think Ugas was a slow starter. I think he finished strong. And I think Pacquiao faded towards the end. You know,
Yeah, Manny was having a lot of trouble with the distance.
Yeah, he was having a lot of trouble with the distance, you know. I mean, Ugas was staying in the middle of the ring, you know. It was fundamental, and that's why kind of when after going into the 5th round, if I kind of have it at a draw or even towards the 6th round, but Ugas really picked up. He didn't keep boxing that simple, that passive throughout the whole fight. He was very passive and simple in the first half of the fight. He really opened up, started letting those right hands go, started winging those weird little, the hook.
Yeah, the overhand.
Overhand hook, straight, long punch, whatever. I saw it a mile away, but you know. And I was sitting a mile away and I saw it.
And you saw it. You know, Ugas is now, you know, the biggest one of his career. He, you know, can say he was Manny's last opponent. He got Manny to, I don't want to say forced Manny to retire because I think Manny was on his way out, but he could say like, hey, you know, Manny retired after fighting me. For the future, you know, Ugas and you, what do you make of that matchup? Because I saw a lot of people say, hey, you know, you used to have the WBA belt. You've said in interviews you want to get it back. Ugas is now the WBA champion. How does the fight between you and Ugas go, and what do you make of that matchup?
A lot more exciting because I will be willing to press. You know, he was such a bigger man over Pacquiao. It's not easy for Pacquiao to walk into Ugas, you know, but I would just be willing to see how much real fight he has in him and not all this simple, timid boxing, you know, and then what he does with real combinations, you know, from somebody who can get the combinations off on him. At the end of the day, a tough 12-round fight, whatever, you know, what is he? Because he always seems to be well conditioned, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, he does seem to be very well conditioned. He seems to, I don't know if it's because everything's going at his pace and his speed and his tempo, you know. So I want to destroy that rhythm and that tempo. Want to make him fight harder than he's ever fought. Want to make him worry about punches he's never worried about, you know, when I swing from wild angles, you know, and I get into power positions, you know. So I like the fight because I like his skills. Overall, you know, I don't think he's that exciting, but I like how when Pacquiao was trying to fight him, he was fighting back. You know, he did have this, a little bit more than a simple Cuban. You know, he would seem like he'll stand there and he wants to get his back, you know, under the lights. He looks like he's willing to trade. I've seen some fights in the past. I think his hooks are definitely wide, but I think that's definitely just from his build. He's got long arms. At the end of the day, his power doesn't look threatening, but, you know, you don't know till you're really in there. At the end of the day, I just think it's a great fight. You know, I favor myself, but I think he has the potential to give a lot of people problems. I just don't know how devastating of a welterweight champion Ugas truly is.
There was talk also of him fighting Spence now. Spence is still recovering from his eye injury, but what do you make of Ugas going into that fight? And overall, what do you make of Spence missing out on that opportunity to fight Manny?
Oh, like I said, man, gut wrenching, you know. I mean, it's got to just make you want to throw up, missing an opportunity. But at the end of the day, you know, what matters is that he comes back. You know, he's still at the top of the welterweight division. Just get back the best that you can, come strong, you know, and maybe the fight with Ugas happens and then it's 3 belts city anyways, you know. At the end of the day, It's a decent matchup, but I just don't know how exciting. That's the problem with putting people up against an Ugas is it doesn't guarantee excitement. You know, that's just my opinion from the outside as a spectator who wants to see a great fight. And you can see great fighters, doesn't mean you're going to see a great fight. That's where I'm trying to get with this conversation right now.
Styles.
We can put great fighters in the ring together, but it doesn't always mean that you're going to have a great fight. You know, when the way that Errol fought Danny Garcia and things of that nature, they were both winging at each other from the outside. It was in the overall pace and tempo. Errol Spence likes to jab a lot. Ugas likes to jab a lot, you know, so we might see a lot of outside, you know, who knows how much will happen on the inside. But I do think, you know, Spence's power is relevant in the welterweight division. I'm not sure about Ugas's power. We've seen him drop a lot of people. We haven't seen him knock a lot of people out. So I think he has knockdown power, but just not knockout power. But, you know, it's because of the belts, because they're both champions. If it happens, we know why it'll happen. I heard Ugas has some mandatory getting pushed on him through the WBA. The WBA is issuing mandatories, and they're doing, I don't know, they're doing weird things with their belts. I can't get into all the beltisms out there.
Yeah, we'll be here for like 2 hours just talking about it.
There's something being pushed by the federation themselves, and let's see if that sticks, because you know you just never know in boxing. As long as that sticks, then Ugas's next opponent is technically decided already, and then from there he'll be able to fight any and all challengers. But I do see him as a legitimate champion and a very skillful one, and would love to get that belt back in my possession one day.
What do you make of the comments Errol has said towards a fight against you, and just the comments he said about you personally? Like, are you surprised by his reaction towards all that? Like, it looks like he dislikes you like a lot.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've told people, you know, okay. So let's say Errol Spence fought Manny Pacquiao, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He fights Manny Pacquiao. And with the performance we saw, we all can say Errol Spence wins against Manny Pacquiao. We can do this hypothetical, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And everyone's going to agree. Okay. So Errol Spence beats Manny Pacquiao. Let's go to the hypothetical post-fight press conference, right? There's going to be a few questions about the fight. About the first or second question after those questions is going to be a question about Keith Thurman. Okay. Now you can tell me yourself, because you ask questions, how long would it take for them to ask Errol Spence about Keith Thurman?
Probably be, you know, within 10 minutes of, you know, going, hey, what'd you make of the fight? How'd you feel Manny did, da 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 da, and then someone would be like, hey, Keith Thurman's out there. That's an exciting matchup. He wants to fight. What do you make of it?
You know, so I don't know, man. For somebody who, you know, some people say, oh, it's the beef. He wanted to fight me and I didn't really acknowledge him. But in my lack of acknowledging him, you know, I was busy getting better fights. You know, does he have a whole lot of better fights out there? You know, now that I'm not champion, one can say, sure, Keith, he does, whatever. But there's still not a whole lot. Where at the time, I had other things on my to-do list. And I never flat out disrespected him. I just, you know, said, get bigger and I'll see you when it's worth something, you know? And I never even say that to like a lot of fighters, but I knew exactly who Errol Spence was, amateur Olympian, you know, going from the amateurs to the pros, the same life that I walked, you know. We never got to see each other because we were from two different generations right behind each other. So at the end of the day, You know, it just was what it was. You know, I didn't. So when he gets all upset, I don't know how much he really hates me, but I bet he hates having to talk about me, you know, after beating everybody that I done beat, you know, after knocking out Bundu when I went 12 rounds with Bundu, you know, and I get it. I mean, I just think he's hella frustrated. I think hella frustrated, hella salty. But I just still think that great fights are great fights. I think Thurman Spence is a great fight. I mean, I think Thurman versus the world is really what it's at anyways, man. It's Thurman versus everybody. I just think this is the greatest fights in the welterweight division. Got my name in the mix. But there's Crawford. There's Crawford Spence. I think that's way bigger than Crawford Ugas, but he can make history by collecting all the belts. So there's, you know, it's just how people are going to play the game, man. You know, you can get the pieces on the board. You can have, you know, a deck of cards, you know, but when your hand is dealt, how do you play it? You know? Mm-hmm. So we got to see, man. I'm just trying to get back in action so that I can get anything and everything that they throw at me, you know? And if I'm, as long as I get to go back to work, because I just miss it now. But at this point, at this time, you know, I just miss the action. Just want to get back in the action and hopefully get these belts back, some title matches, but we'll see.
We're seeing Danny Garcia move up to 154, and it got me thinking, like, hey, you know, it was you four always, Danny, you, Shawn, and Errol. It's like the mini golden era of the welterweight division these last few years. But with Danny now moving up to 154, you know, it made me like wonder, like, okay, who's going to be the other one that goes to 154? Have you given thought about moving up in weight, or you're still pretty comfortable at 147?
I just think it's not that time yet. There's just too big of an opportunity to still go after greatness in the welterweight division. You know, I just think we're all young enough. If everybody buckles down and just gets in the ring, we can really make it happen within maybe, you know, 2 years or so. Because right now the top dogs are really Crawford, Spence, Ugas, and Thurman right on the outside looking to get back on the inside and, you know, and grab all the belts back. Let's say Spence fights Ugas, gets all 3 belts. If I get the Spence fight at the end of the day, it's still an opportunity for all 3 belts. You know, there's too much that entices me at 147, you know. So I don't really see a lot of action at 54. That's just not where my desire is. You know, Danny did the 140, climbed that ladder, was very successful, competed at 147, was able to win a vacated world title, but didn't defend it too long when he ran into me. Then he had struggles at 147 with me, Porter, and Errol, right? So it makes sense for him to give one more division a try, climb up the ladder, you know, at the right place at the right time. Put Danny in the ring, you know, he's just trying to hit a home run. And this ain't baseball. You hit a home run, it's over. It's over. Okay. Just imagine the first team to hit a home run, game was over. What if baseball was like that? Whoever hits the home run, go home, we won, you lose, hit it over the park. Get the fuck out of here. Pay me. You know what I'm saying? Baseball, you know, one hit, we done. Yeah. Okay. That's what happens out here though, you know, and that's the kind of fighter Danny is. So, you know, he just wants to move up and climb one more ladder. You know, I mean, it would mean a lot. Even if he just grabbed one world title, it would mean a lot. Three division, it would mean a lot for Danny. So I see the logic in it personally.
Another welterweight fight that I think is tremendous fight is Shawn Porter against Terence Crawford. What do you make of that matchup? What kind of fight does Shawn need to do to win, and what type of fight does Terence need to do to win?
I mean, Shawn's thing is, his rhythm can really be a challenge. He can duck really low, and it's just angles that in the moment you have to make the proper adjustment to, and when you can't fully make the proper adjustment to it, doesn't mean that you can't handle it. It just means you can't fight back, and you just get put on your back foot a little bit. You're going to be a little defensive and maybe can't counter properly. Now, saying that out loud, we know Terence can counter properly. We know Terence is got a lot of skills in his skill set. So at the end of the day, I want to say on paper, he should be able to dish out what Shawn's going to be putting on him. We saw Errol take it. We saw me take it. We saw Kell Brook, So I want to say that Terence Crawford is the type of fighter who has a skill set, who can take the variables that Shawn Porter brings into the ring. Now, after saying that, Shawn works hard, when he's throwing his combinations, he's not going to land everything, but with those small gloves and flurries of punches, something's going to get in, something's going to get around, something's going to get through. If Shawn can go into a flurry and start pin placing like one to two shots in those flurries and becoming a little bit more of a sharpshooter as he goes after you, I think he can do damage. I've seen him do damage when we were amateurs, I've seen him do damage multiple times throughout his career. I just think the way that he's chosen to fight, because we know small, short, stocky, you start really mixing it up big, like Mike Tyson going for that knockout. What do you have in the later rounds? And this is not the heavyweight division. These are welterweights. They will be moving fast and moving around you, circling in the later rounds, So I think that's made Shawn want to compete at this 12-round level. But I would just like to see him buckle back down on some of that organic power that he's had, and just become champion of the world again, because if anybody really, really, really wants it, it's Shawn. How many times did he go after the belt? He's gotten a lot of opportunities at 147, and this is another opportunity, and he's fallen short. He fell short against me. He fell short
with Kell
against
Brooks?
Errol Spence.
Well, defended
Errol
against
Spence.
Brook, but with Errol Spence,
he defended. With Errol Spence, he could have got another belt, So at the end of the day, I know he wants to always elevate himself or be champion again. And, he's the kind of fighter that believes he can beat champions. I don't favor him statistically, but I do think it's a very challenging fight, because we haven't seen Terence against real welterweights. The Kell Brook fight, it is what it is. He dominated it. We get that, but it's hard to, when you're a critic, and that means sometimes you might just be a dang asshole. So if I'm going to critique you, I'm going to say there wasn't enough to fully impress me to give you a legitimate saying that you're the baddest welterweight in the welterweight division. I want to see more, and we're going to see a lot more with Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter he represents like an army. Like if your army's better than Shawn Porter's army, then so be it. I guess you deserve to be on the throne. But if your army's not better than Shawn Porter's army, then he deserves to take your castle and your throne, and that's what he does. He goes around wrecking people, but he just can't get the real kings out there. He's fallen short of messing with the real guys. At the end of the day, everybody believes that Terence Crawford is that real guy. It doesn't get realer than testing him against Shawn Porter. I mean, he's not too many people lose and then come back fighting the same way, right? They don't come back fighting the same way. That's what people are going to look out. In my fight, is Thurman really still Thurman after this loss? It's a psychological thing you can say for athletes. It's a whole bunch of different things, but sometimes they don't perform up to par. Shawn Porter loses, comes right back as Shawn Porter. Loses, he wins, he's Shawn Porter. I mean, to me, he's just one of the most consistently at his level. He just is very consistent. So if you want to be above him, you got to prove that you truly are above a Shawn Porter level.
Yeah, I think his activity and his volume is a big asset for him in the fight. But when you look at Crawford, it's like, man, like how do you even prepare for a guy like him? Because he could switch it up on you. He could go to his orthodox game plan and do his things there, or he can go to southpaw. So it's like, how would you even begin to train for a guy like that? You know, he's such a difficult puzzle.
Yeah, just do a few rounds with a skilled right-hander, you know, and a few rounds with a skilled southpaw, and I hope that both of them have the ability to counterpunch, you know, and then just watch film, watch the consistencies. What do you see? Does he have a go-to punch in the southpaw position? You know, like you know, we know Errol. He gets into those body shots. He throws 2 power shots at a time, like boom, boom. He like that left uppercut to the stomach. You know, I never really seen a systematic pattern out of Crawford in that way. I haven't seen enough of Crawford's fights to really dig deep. But from what I have seen, you know, he seems more fluid and just believing in his speed, his countering ability, his jab, and just his overall boxing IQ from both positions, southpaw and right-handed. I just do believe that he hasn't been up against the upper echelon at all times, but, you know, hopefully now, you know, especially even after this, if he was to win against Shawn Porter, that would just make him want to do bigger things at 147. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, that's a tremendous fight. I can't wait for that one because you know with Shawn's going to bring it. He's going to bring the fight to you, and Shawn's never in a bad, boring fight. So I can't wait for that fight. Another fight that's anticipated by a lot of fans. You're so good at breaking these fights down. Canelo versus Caleb Plant. Keith, how do you see the fight?
Canelo is just bad, man. Canelo is just dangerous, you know. I mean, all he does, I mean, he punches the heavy bag, but he punches it like he's punching a wall, you know. And then one day, there's not going to be a heavy bag. There's not going to be a wall. There's going to be Caleb Plant, you know. The whole thing, you know, we saw it in his last fight, apparently. Somebody said that I get the 411. I don't get all the info all the time. I'm not fully up to date, but I do get updated. So the update that I got, and it's enough for me to hear because I already know who Canelo is as a fighter. I've seen enough of him, you know. But Canelo has his eyes on the KO. You know, he just steps in. He's fully committed to his attack. I heard that the other guy was keeping up with Canelo, boxing him. Unofficial scorecards might have had the guy leading. I don't know who was truly leading.
Yeah, Saunders, you're talking about the last fight, right?
All I know is it's the last fight. I don't know
Saunders. Yeah, he was in the fight. It was competitive. It was really competitive.
You know, I heard, I didn't get to see, and then all I saw was the highlight uppercut the next day where he busted the dude's eye, you know. And that's just the thing, man. You know, that goes back to the old Bangetti, don't leave it up to the judges. It's where the nickname one time originally comes from. When you commit to the punch, the punch that is going to do the job. This left hook, this right uppercut, this straight right hand, that's what you're dealing with Canelo. You're dealing with a series of power punches that any of them can really put you out if you let them step into you and you're there to get clobbered with, you know. Caleb Plant has a lot of heart and grit, and he has a drive, and, you know, he has a great skill set himself, you know, so there's no one better to showcase all that you have outside of a Canelo Alvarez, you know. I think when you're fighting a fighter of Canelo's caliber, you really need to go in with a real good game plan. You know, you need to go in with a great game plan, you know, because at the end of the day, everyone's got a game plan until they get hit. We know that, Mike. We know that, Mike. Okay. You don't have to tell us later. All right. We know you believe in Canelo too, Mike. We all know that. Okay. You know, because the hands are deadly, you know. So it's just a great fight for him at this time. It's truly a great fight for Caleb Plant and his career. You know, I still think Canelo has people that he hasn't fought that would have been great fights to see. But the man just delivers, you know, like I say, is he entertaining? Yeah, he's entertaining. You know, he's truly entertaining. He's something to watch. And he can fight his way. You know, he can move, he can be patient with it. He doesn't have to rush into it nowadays because he knows, you know, it's like a great white, like dun 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 dun. You know, every round it's like he's creeping up on the knockout. He's creeping up on the knockout, you know, and then we just got to see if it doesn't happen, you know, but that's 12 rounds later, baby, you know. So it's just great. It's just great action. I'm probably going to tune into it. Like I said, I don't tune into every Canelo fight, but, you know, I know I'm going to see a great fight, and I just want to see what Plant really shows the world. You know, I always say styles makes fights, but I think if you really study your opponent and if you see something, it's a sport. You know, we are athletes. That's what we do. You know, if somebody's on the court and they know that you're weak to the left side, they know you're weak to the left side till a different game you show up, and you show up better and you show up stronger, you know. But that's the thing, like here in boxing, there is no next season, you know, it's here and now, and how you commit to the performance, how you commit to the training camp. So, you know, I'm just happy to see boxing able to put on great cards this year. It was better than 2020, and I'm looking forward to getting back in action myself, and know that 2022 we should be rolling in a lot more entertainment for the world to see in all the divisions.
Hey, Keith, thank you so much. Glad I had a chance to catch up with you. Congratulations once more on the birth of your child, my man, and just can't wait to see you back in the ring, my man.
Thank you, my man. Smoothie time. I'm out.
Okay, take it easy, Keith.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Up TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Up TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.